Hello, I'm going to take a pea and do some fun stuff with it. But first I wanted to show you examples of other people taking letters. See how they took a pea. Here's the pea. Pea. That's supposed to be a P. I don't know whether that would be recognizable as a P unless you showed it in between the O and the Q, but even then you might need to have an entire alphabet before someone could recognize that as a P. Especially if you're a botanist, because even though these things are supposed to look like plants, there's no plants that grow like that. I mean, this one here even shows the roots of this plant that is impossible to grow, and then it has a couple of little curtain tassels coming out of it here. I guess those are buds. Those are supposed to be buds. So this lurid alphabet is based vaguely on vegetable material, but not anywhere on the planet do they have vegetation that grows like this. It defies botany in some cases. So, that in mind, let's look at what these people did using Gothic. Now, not only did they, I like this one because not only are they using Gothic lettering, or what's called Gothic lettering, but they're making them out of Gothic cathedral parts, except for that. That's got misplaced by the people that did the one we just saw, as does the Z. I mean, why did they throw those in there? There's no, not X with a little plant growing, little ivy growing up the flying buttress or something. But these are clearly meant to be architectural elements of cathedrals. Gothic cathedrals making lettering. Here you see monks and saints and martyrs and stuff turned into letters here. So I thought, well, why can't I use dissected humans to make letters? So this is the sort of musculature illustration that I want to use, and I have some other examples that I want to show you. Here's another one where you've got the muscles and veins and bones all overlapping in a fun way, and so keep that in your memory bank. And let's see, here's another anatomy book. I love this one. It has a weibliches corpus, the model of the woman's body, and I like that they even show the baby in der weibliches corpus, and you take her apart like this. Her boob fell off. Oh, there it is. Here's her boob. Glue that back on. Anyway, here she opens up this way, but you see her opening up further. Here's her skeleton. That's not what I want. Come on, where are you? Maybe this was it. Is this it? Damnation. Why can't I find things when I want? There. This is the one I want. So this one opened up, all the muscles opened up. And here's the various pieces that are falling out of her. This opens up. And out of her belly, in her belly was... Why didn't I plan ahead, Pierre Gustafson? Is there some reason why you can't? Of course you can't do this using one hand. This is my favorite part. So here's her womb. It fits like that. And, or does it fit like that? It does fit like that. And then this opens up. And then there he is. So that will give you nightmares. Not me, I've had them all already. Okay, back to the anatomy books. And again, the point of me showing you this is to get back to this thing, but I just want to show you. There's another anatomy book that I really like. And this one is interesting because normally when you see anatomy books, the figure that they're cutting apart tends not to have identifiable, yes, you can tell it's a man or a woman, and that's usually about it. But I like this book because they actually, the artist was asked to draw the actual personhoodness, the actual face of the dissected person. So again, here, think of this as what my letters are going to look like, you know, with elements sort of, you know, opened up and displayed. But this is one of my favorite pictures in here, is this one, which shows the roof of the mouth, the tongue, and I love the mustache in it. And I wonder if he had a waxed curlicue, what that would have looked like. But it's just really, really fun, I think. Okay, so now let's get rid of these books. This book is the one that I'll have on my desk, so I'll show you what I'm planning to do when I take a pee. I have to replace this here, move this out of the way. I need to have an assistant in my studio to move things around for me when I want to move things around. So we're only 7 minutes long. So I'm gonna just open this page randomly to something just so here, maybe this one. That's what I'll be looking at off camera as I take a pee. And shall I use red ink because of the anatomical aspect of this drawing? Let's use red ink. Why are we using that pen? I want to use a pen that has a thin and a thick side. So what pen was I using earlier today? This one. I'm not going to use red ink because it already has black in it. So here's, you know, a pea roughly looks like this, right? There's a bowl. Come on, right, God damn you. You have to hit the paper. So that's essentially what I have to deal with. So now I'm going to build this out of layers of musculature and tendons and stuff, whatnot. And maybe there'll be something that represents, I don't know what these things are. I think this is the backbone, is sort of here. But I think this is the neck. These are the muscles of the neck. On this illustration, I'm using as sort of a basis. So there's longicoli 1, longicoli 2. This is a muscle that's connected to the base of the skull here, and these are the vertebrae in your neck, I think. Vertebrae thoracalis 3 is what it says. So, you know, I just think that, and then we have, let's say I've taken this, this muscle was the one that came down here, and I've pulled it aside. So it's sort of the same as this thing, except it's pulled aside. And let's just pin it down like they often show in these books. They show the hooks and the pins that keep the body parts out of the way of the view issue you're having. You want to be able to see what you're doing when you're learning how to do this kind of stuff. So we'll add another pin right there, and we'll throw a pin over here. Now, what's also neat to do here is to make it look realistic. We could show the shadow, so the light's coming from this way, let's say. The shadow then would do that. If I was paying attention, and then I could have the shadow of the bones here, and the muscles trail off. So this is, I'm adding a drop shadow to my my P. I'm taking my P and I'm adding are we tired of that joke yet? The taking a P joke? I'm not tired of it. Because that's what we're doing. We're taking a P. We're taking the letter P. I once was playing Scrabble with my grandmother, and she used a word on the Scrabble board, and I challenged it. This is back in the days when you used pieces of wood with letters on them, and you had to use a dictionary. You didn't have Words with Friends telling you what words are real or not. You could actually put down a word that was incorrect, and if you were clever, you might know that it isn't a word, but stump your opponent. And she used the letter, she made a word, AITCH. And I looked at that and I challenged her, and we looked it up in the dictionary, and it was how you spell the letter H. AITCH. And I said, no, you spell it like that. No, you spell it AITCH. And I thought, okay, we're going to play that kind of game. So it's just interesting to see how much fun we can have when we're allowing all sorts of weird words. In Words with Friends, I'm so frustrated when I play that game, and yes, like many of us that play that game, we keep playing until we get their little xylophone in the background to show that we made the biggest word possible. And quite often that word, when you look under the dictionary thing, it says, this word has no meaning, but it's allowed by Words with Friends. What the hell does that even mean? You know, a word is a series of letters that are put together vaguely following the rules of linguistics. But the thing that makes a word is that it is a symbol. It's a thing that represents something else. And how can you have a word that has no meaning? It makes it sound, it says, it's allowed by Words with Friends, but it doesn't have a meaning. And it's like Words with Friends has a list of words that are going to be in the future that will be applied to an invention or some sort of thing. When we need to get a new word, we use it. See, here I'm turning it into what I was doing before. I don't want to do that. I want to have it look like muscles. I have to go look at my picture again. So it sounds like, there's a list of words waiting to be used, regardless of what the meaning of the word is. They're just waiting in line, at the, like a candy dispenser. They're the next one in line to be used. And whether you're describing a new plant or a new technical thing, that's the word you're going to use. And it really annoys me when that happens, because I want to put an S on it, to make it plural and get all sorts of points. No, that word isn't allowed. Well, why not? You just allowed this one, and now I'm sure there's two of them, both of them. Why don't you allow me to use this word when, is there no plural? Or does the plural have an I on the end, like radii rather than radiuses? So maybe that's it. So let me try the I. No, that isn't allowed. Okay, so what is this? What is this word that you're not allowing? Here we'll have this as part of the torn off muscle. So this is how the P could look, taking a P anatomically. Let's try another one. Let's make this one out of assorted veins. Like, this is connected to your heart. This comes up here like this, and then there's a thing that comes over here, and it goes like that. And maybe they actually show it cut in half so you can see how it works there, like a sausage. And what else do we have? It seemed to me that thing also showed nerve endings and veins or whatever. So it could be, this is your aorta as it leaves the heart, and it goes its various ways. And so that's another way you could still use your pins to hold it down. And you can draw little arrows and have little words that say clogged. So, the next Gray's Anatomy book that is put out on sale, maybe they want me to illuminate it for them. I wanted to do a series of illustrations on vellum, as if written in monasteries, but in a parallel universe where the mumbo jumbo of God and Christianity and all that kind of stuff didn't exist, and the monks instead were sitting there in their scriptorum, and they would be writing, biological texts and mathematical texts, and using their gold leaf and their reed pens to come up with things that actually are true and make sense, instead of fairy tales. Let's see, how else can we take a P? Look at a different illustration here. Here's another one. So here's the pelvis with tendons, I guess, on it. So P could be mainly some sort of bone-like thing. Like the hole in a pelvis. And this is sort of fun. I'm looking at the illustrations in this book, and this one many of the books that I have the illustrations are engraved, and so they're all done with black and white lines, and it's really a beautiful way of reproducing things that are very, very clear to see, and it's really a brilliant way of drawing, is to use cross-hatching to represent bone or plants or whatever you're doing. Another way is to use pencil, and you can get all these beautiful gray scales, but pencil has a hard time being reproduced. So there was this type of paper made, which I have some, but I don't have some right in front of me, so I can't show you. It's called coquille board, Coquille board, stipple board. What it is, it's textured paper with a little tiny pitting in it. Imagine taking a shotgun and aiming it at a piece of paper that you've pinned to the wall, a thick piece of paper that you've pinned to the wall, and you take your shotgun and you shoot it at the wall, and you go over to the wall and you shake off the pellets, so the pellets fall to the ground, and you have this evenly distributed pitted paper. So when you put a pencil line over it, no matter how hard you press, there's this, you can't ever make it completely dark, I guess is what I'm trying to say. There's all these little white specks in the way. And then that was used by that sort of paper, the stipple board or stipple paper, coquille board, it's coquille board, ILLE, is used quite often by anatomy illustrators or people that draw fossils, because they're able to get these beautiful grayscales and you can reproduce them. You can turn them into black and white. So this illustration here, this is done on coquille board. So you can't see it because it's so finely done, but it's really a beautiful type of paper to use, especially if you use pencil, because you can take that, you can scan it in high resolution, and you can print it in black and white. You can bring it to a Xerox. I mean, not that anyone uses Xeroxes anymore, but it can reproduce it really, really well. And it's really a neat medium to use. So anyway, here we have our peas. This one looks sort of like a bony banana being peeled. Let's see, let's try one more. Let's go back to our original plan here. See, this illustration, you have bone, you have tissues, and you have muscle. You've got all sorts of things happening there. And so let's make another pea. And there's I'm just looking at the letter I'm doing. I'm not looking at the actual thing, because that's going to confuse me. So let's, again, we're going to pretend that the vertical part is a bone. And so we'll draw that bone-like. And I'm even going to have this one be broken. So here's our little holes of the bone. And they what are those called? What am I trying to say they are? They're the air pockets in the bone, whatever they are. I forget what they're called. And then we're going to draw attached to this. This here's one part of end of the bone, and here's the other end of the bone. And then you've got these tendons that are sort of attached. This tendon is being flayed out there. Maybe there's muscle. I mean, it would help, I guess, if I actually understood what human anatomy, so I could say, okay, the thigh bone's connected to the whatever it is bone, but to know how tendons work and how muscles work. You know, there's the bone, there's the tendon, is that it? And then there's the muscle on top of that, or what? So I'll have to study this, but maybe this, to make this look good, it has to be in color. To look real, it has to be in color. Now, of course, an anatomist would say, you know, there's no such bone that looks like that. That's impossible for a bone to look like that. But it looks like a bone, right? This looks like a muscle, right? Okay, fine. That's all I want to do. It looks just as much like a bone or a muscle as those plants that were drawn looked like real botany. And so if Gray's Anatomy wants to put out a book, a new version of their anatomy, and have it be illustrated by me, just have them give me a call. Throw a couple of, this is a very strong muscle that wants to spring back, so we're just going to use a frickin', you heard me, frickin' sheetrock screw to hold this one down. There's the sheetrock screw. No pin. Pin wasn't strong enough. So we do our drop shadow. And then we can add our little other things to make it look realistic or pretty. You know, the other things that you add either help it look realistic or help it look pretty. There's sort of, those are the choices you have. Anyway, I'm only, right now I'm only screwing it up, but there's another P. The Gray's Anatomy pee. Okay, I gotta actually take a pee myself, so toodaloo.